What's good, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Get Defensive Sports Network Power 2 podcast. I'm sorry,
Are you okay?
I can't hear myself.
Okay.
And normally I can hear myself, so I didn't think the recording was working, but I see the lines and we're not taking this out, so you
No,
all are
we're
just gonna
not.
have to deal with
We
this.
didn't
But
take mine out last week, so we're
yeah,
leaving it in.
normally I can hear myself and I couldn't, and so I'm like I can't hear it through the headphones. So I was confused. Okay, whatever. We're here.
Welcome back, people.
You can hear me through your headphones, though, right?
I can, yes.
All right. So, whatever that means, we are here for another episode of Get Defensive Sports Network Power 2 podcast.
Oh my god.
And we are having technical problems. And you want to know something for all you people who don't have a podcast? Being able to hear yourself while you're recording is very weird. But then when you can't, it's even weirder. Like it's like, oh man, I don't really like this. And now that I can't hear myself, it's awful. So, but we're here. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm fabulous. I'm fabulous. Just spent time with the fam bam, celebrating Father's Day because there are many, many fathers in my family. So we were celebrating and playing games and eating food and just doing all the things that families do. So yeah, it was really fun. How about you?
Um, I'm all right. This is a
Period.
good moment to say Happy Father's Day to
Period.
all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that stepped up. Um, and happy pseudo Father's Day to all the male role models who are not actually fathers, but they serve a role for people. Um, in a way
Mentors.
that is, fatherly. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Yes,
I'm
and
doing all
happy
right.
Father's Day to the dog and cat fathers.
No, no, no,
No,
not
we're
those.
not telling them fathers. Listen, I am
No,
a mother. I have a
no, you're
cat.
not.
I am. Stop. I am. I am a
No,
mother. Okay.
I'm not. That
I
is
am a mother.
50% of the Power Two podcast is wishing Happy Father's Day to pet parents. The other 50% is not actively is not.
If you're a pet parent, I see you. I see you.
I
I
don't.
hear you. I
I
respect
don't.
you.
I
Because taking care
don't.
of a dog on your own is not a joke. I'm sorry, especially if it's a puppy. That's not a joke. I don't want to hear it. That is stressful. Have you ever dealt with a teething dog? Until you've dealt with a teething dog, I don't want to hear anything about that's not parenthood.
It's not.
Anyways, happy Father's Day to everybody who celebrates.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's
But
mid
yeah,
June. It's mid June. We are closer to 2050 than we are to 2025 officially. How do you feel? Do you feel like we are living in the future?
do you mean 2000?
Whatever.
Because you went up by 20, like,
Whatever.
yeah.
You know what I meant.
All right, I got you.
Don't overthink it.
um, I'm not thinking about 2050 at all. 25 years in the future is a long time. I would be 55. Yeah,
Oh my
55.
god.
So I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
Look, and
you'll
we
be
might be in a
too.
fascist
So,
regime by then. So
oh no, we won't.
who won't?
Won't. Listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is the only thing I'm going to say about this because I would just say I personally will not be living through a fascist regime.
Neither will I.
So either we not gonna have one or we not gonna be in one.
I will not be living here.
And I leave
Or
it
I'll
at
be
that.
dead. Because I'm not going to do it.
Them's the options. Okay, so sports,
Yes.
news,
We have lots and
things.
lots of news.
Yes, we
I
do.
I'm so excited because truly, sometimes I don't know if it's a mic in front of me or if it's a crystal ball many, many times. But we spoke last week about NIL and the house settlement finally happening, the $2.8 billion. Did I just make that up?
Nope.
Billion. $2.8
Billion.
billion payout and all those things. And what did I say about 45 minutes into the episode? I said, there's going to be some Title IX issues with this. And I'll be damned if a group of female athletes did not file an appeal pretty much immediately after the house settlement saying, hey, 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 y'all ain't following Title IX with this payout. So, a group of 8 female athletes, they're a mixture of track, soccer, and volleyball players. Their names are public if you guys want to look them up. Filed a appeal for the House versus NCAA settlement, and the appeal is only challenging the back pay damages portion of the settlement, so nothing to do with the revenue share and all the other stuff, but just the back pay because they basically were like, hello, y'all ain't following Title IX with the way that y'all are doing this back payout. So they felt like the damages violate Title IX because female athletes would theoretically receive less money than the football and men's basketball players in damage payments and revenue sharing. And the attorney estimated it deprives female athletes of about $1.1 billion. And in a statement to Front Office Sports, she said paying out the money as proposed would be a massive error that would cause irreparable harm to women's sports. The settlement suggests that schools would have paid male athletes over 90% of their revenue over the past 6 years, as though Title IX did not apply. If Nike wants to do that, that's their choice. If the school or a conference acting on the school's behalf tries to do that, they are violating the law. They can either pay the athletes proportionally or they can return all of the federal funds, but they cannot do both. So we are back in litigation. It's only been 5 minutes. But as we kind of were saying, there were going to be some issues as far as how this was really going to get split with the female athletes, even in the future with the revenue sharing and how all that's going to work, but even now with the back pay. So everything is still up in the air with how this $2.8 billion is going to be dispersed.
Yeah, and so one thing of note, the moving forward, the revenue sharing is not subject to Title IX
Good times.
because of the president. President Biden said that it would be subject to Title IX. The current
Dictator
president,
Trump says something else. Yes.
don't call him that. I understand that he wants to be, but I'm not. I don't believe in speaking none of that into existence. And
I'm not
and,
speaking
and
into existence.
thankfully,
That's literally what's
and
happening.
thank, well, so it's not though. Thankfully, because of the courts, like legitimately, it's not
The courts are the
because
only thing keeping
and
us
and it's
honest.
crazy. It is so crazy, right? How checks and balances work. It's almost like we need those things. So
Child, anyways,
and
yes, I
so
see
at
here in the
this
article it does say that for the revenue
Yeah.
sharing.
So at this point, the only thing that could make it Title IX applicable is a federal judge. We
Yep.
do not know if people will sue for that. That is also one of those sort of weird things because it's like it's specifically off of like TV money, and so I think there could be an argument made that as long as the efforts for NIL, like the in-house NIL, is following Title IX, that the revenue sharing may not. But we'll see. You mentioned with this that the lawsuit came almost immediately, and it did come almost
Yeah.
immediately, specifically because the people who put in the lawsuit said that they spoke up to this. And so essentially, when you're doing a big settlement like this, at a certain point, they ask for objections. That's
Yeah.
not what it's called legally, but they ask for objections. And so people outside of the lawsuit in the settlement could come in and say, hey, this is a problem. And essentially, and I sort of understand this, essentially the judge was like, I'm not dealing with that. She
She straight up
basically
was
was,
like, this is not my problem.
yeah, and I get it because like you've been doing this thing for so long. She's like, I'm gonna do what I can do, but she specifically said this settlement is it can be sued for Title IX.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna rule on Title IX. I already have too much
Somebody
to
else
do,
will.
but I'm not blocking it if you want to come back afterwards, but like that is not in the scope of what I currently am doing. And I actually do think that that is right. Like I don't, and
Yeah.
what they were doing, I don't think Title IX was in her scope,
Yeah.
but you bring it up. She says, "Hey, let somebody else deal with that," and they say, "Bet." And as soon as it was approved, now someone else has to deal with it. So essentially, because court things take forever, we're not going to have an answer for this for like another year or two. Like this is
Yeah.
going to be a very long drawn out thing, which is unfortunate to the athletes who wanted this money, but it's not more unfortunate to the women who may have not been getting paid. So,
Yeah.
um, 2030 maybe, you
Listen,
know,
I think
but
also though they may be able to figure out a way to get it done maybe a little quicker, but yeah, it's going to take some time to figure out the ratios and the things and the implications and all of that. But it was something that I think we all kind of knew was going to happen because the judge, like you said, straight up was like, I'm not dealing with this. I know this is a problem, but the biggest thing was this case, House versus NCAA, was really more so about is are these athletes eligible for back pay? That was the question. Are they eligible for back pay? Plus all the other things. Yes, they are. As far as everything else, there's more litigation. There just has to be more litigation. I mean, that's just it. Just is what it is. You can't cover everything in just under one umbrella. Title IX wasn't the question. It was whether or not these athletes were eligible. Now that that has been established, now Title IX gets to be the question. So, um, hopefully they figure out something because I know it is very very convoluted when you talk about which sports are generating revenue versus which ones are not, but then you have to make things equitable because of Title IX and all these things. Like it's going to take some time for them to figure all that out.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the biggest problem, like, it's not football. At the end of the day, no one's ever mad. Like, maybe someone in the world is mad at football, but like, you can never really
Yeah.
be mad at football because it makes the most money and by far it has the most athletes. Like, it would take realistically five or six other male sports, five or six other female sports to equal the roster of football. It
Hmm.
is 85 scholarships. We literally just went through this last week where like baseball only has 11.7. Like, especially if we're looking at scholarship numbers, there are probably schools who don't have 160 total scholarships, meaning that all of their other sports combined does not equal the number of scholarships that they have for football. So the issue
Yeah.
is not football, but where I think the issue comes in specifically is them saying we're then also going to give 15% of it to men's basketball,
Yeah.
5% to women's basketball, so immediately inequitable there, and
Yeah.
then crumbs to everyone else, and those crumbs still have to be split between male and female athletes.
Yeah.
So Title IX is hard, and I want to keep emphasizing that because it is a very imperfect system, especially when the word is equity, and especially
Yeah.
again when football is involved. For those of you who don't know, how most people do Title IX is they offer significantly more female sports than male sports because of football. So that's why you'll see a lot of schools that have like women's soccer but not men's. That'll
Hmm.
have they'll have like
Women's
women's
softball, but not baseball. Things like
well,
that.
that almost never happens
Really?
because baseball's a big sport. Yeah, that almost never happens.
Well, I mean, I know SMU. We don't have either one because we don't have the
Yeah,
space.
but
But I'm
like
like,
but a
I
lot
guess
of
Texas
times
Tech does have both, don't they?
yeah, most have both because baseball's a big sport. But that's where you'll get
Whatever.
volleyball because men do play volleyball, especially in the Olympics. But a lot of them
But
won't do
not.
men's
Yeah.
volleyball. A lot of schools will have like women's soccer's a big one.
Yeah.
Soccer's a
Women's
big one
track,
where
but
they'll
not
have
men's track.
yeah.
That happens a lot.
They'll do what are some of the other like swimming.
Yeah.
Some of them will do like but like those types of sports. And then of course there are another one is like field hockey.
Yeah.
They won't have men's field hockey. So they will try to create women only sports. And then there are other these sports where like they just won't have a men's team again,
Yeah.
such as like
And they'll
soccer.
have it at
Uh,
club level and things like that, but
yeah,
just
things like
not
yeah,
D1. Yeah.
and that's the sort of the best that they can do. It gets really, 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 really tricky with money though, because Title IX does not cover money; it covers access. You have to offer an equitable number of women's sports. Women have to have an equitable number of scholarships. You can't do what the tournament was trying to do, which doesn't technically fit under Title IX because Title IX covers the school.
Just the
It can't
schools.
really
Yeah.
cover the NCAA, but like
Yeah.
a school can't do what the NCAA tournament was doing, which was provide the men food and backpacks and clothes and all these other kind of things, and then the women were eating box lunches,
And getting scraps. Yeah.
like an
Which is
individual athletic.
ridiculous
Yeah,
regardless, but we can't get into that.
right. So that's the thing. I have zero idea where this is going to
I
go
don't know what they're gonna do either.
because
Because
it's so
even with Title IX, like it's also Title IX itself, even at the school level, even with the scholarships, is very, very convoluted because it's based on like percentages and it's also based on like ratios and there's like different what's the word I'm looking for? Different like criteria that you have to meet in order to be compliant. That doesn't always mean having more sports. It's a lot. Title IX is very, very convoluted. So yeah, it's going to take some time for them to really actually sit down and decide how Title IX is even applicable. And then after that, decide how all of this is going to get split up in a way where it makes sense, both from like a revenue generation standpoint and from a equitable, because the word of the day is equity, not equal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. There is, and also Title IX does not only affect sports; it's a thing that affects colleges as a whole. But it is really, because it does not directly affect money. It is really hard. It's not going to be easy. And I say funny in a negative way. The funny thing is I want to know which lawyer is going to argue that women deserve less.
I don't even want to get into that
Like,
because y'all,
because
you're
like
gonna piss me off. That's gonna Okay. So the next piece of news: Kevin Durant has shared his preferred destinations for a trade
I
because
would
he's done with
prefer
the
that he
Suns.
retires.
Yeah, he's done with the Phoenix Suns. There was conversation in early February before the trade deadline that the Phoenix Suns may potentially send him to Golden State. And sources told us that he was actually shocked that the Suns were even considering trading him. So now that he knows that a trade is on the table, he is now going to cooperate with them and say, these are the three places I want to go. And those three places are the Heat, the Rockets, and the Spurs. The Suns have also been very, very honest in saying they don't give a crap. They're going to send him wherever they need to send him to have a fair trade. So we're just going to have to see. Kevin Durant is 37 years old. He is a 15-time All-Star, and he has also had the highest points per game average in Suns history. So he's not a scrub, right? He's averaging 26.8 points a game. He's still fairly, quote unquote, efficient. So these are his preferred destinations. I brought this up because I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, because I did not see him saying these three teams specifically, because again, they were trying to send him back to Golden State. He made it very clear he's not interested in a reunion, so that's just completely off the table. And of course, at this point, he's been with how many franchises now? Four. The Thunder, the Nets, the Suns, the Warriors. Am I missing one? I think I'm missing one.
No, no, I think that's it.
Yeah. So he's been with four franchises now. He's looking for his fifth. I personally don't hate the Heat as a destination for him. I think that that could actually really work out for him because the Heat is missing scoring now that they've missed out, now that Jimmy Butler is gone. And they need some veteran leadership. Bam needs some help. Tyler Hero needs some help, although Tyler Hero also just needs mental help in general. Because did you see that man say he didn't believe in history before 1950?
No.
It's going viral on Twitter right now. He was on some stream with somebody talking about he did not believe the history before 1950. And I'm like,
I need
is that's not a religion. Like that's just stuff that actually happened. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I really need people to stop getting behind podcast microphones. I really do,
Stop.
especially because like some of the people interviewing aren't really good at it
They're
either,
not
and it's
journalists.
just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Child. Anyways, so I don't hate the Heat, but what are your thoughts on Kevin Durant
I don't care,
trading?
retire. My thing is just like, so like, okay, so here's the thing, right? We're all talking about LeBron and how crazy it is that 21 years, all this sort of stuff, right? But like, is this just going to be common, right? Because
Probably.
granted, yes, like LeBron is still playing at like technically a better level than some of them, but like KD still hooping. He's only 3 years behind LeBron. Steph is still
Yeah.
hooping. He's a couple years behind LeBron. None of these people are retiring. Like, are we gonna be dealing with KD for 4 more years?
Probably. Well, and KD, if he were to extend with the Suns, it would only be a 2 year contract. So I'm sure even when he gets traded, it's probably only going to be a 2 year. So I don't think it's going to be no 4 years, 5 years. I think it's probably going to be realistically another two or three. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I think he just wants to try to win one more championship because,
it's not gonna
again,
happen.
unfortunately, his legacy is in question because they're saying, "Oh, he's not legit because he won a championship with a team that was with a super team. That's a team that's already built." So I think for him, first of all, he has nothing to prove.
Sure, he wants to
But
win a ring.
huh?
I think I think he wants to be in warm weather and
There's also that because
because
Phoenix is warm.
no, I get that, but none of the teams on his list are championship contenders. The
They're all
best
in the
one would be
South.
the Spurs.
The best one would be the
Like
Spurs
you
or
could
the Heat.
argue maybe the Spurs with women. He's gonna be the best player on the Heat. He's not at a place in his career where he's winning a ring as the best player, and he's sure as hell not doing it on the Rockets.
No, the
I
Rockets are an
understand that the
interesting
Rockets are
choice.
young,
The
right? But
Rockets are
like
an interesting choice.
I think he wants to be in Houston for the same reason James Harden wanted to be in Houston. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he wants to be in Miami for the same reason a lot of people want to be in Miami.
Listen,
He's getting a little older. He's rich. From what I know, he's not married and don't have kids. I don't think that's something that he wants to do. He's trying to be young and turn in a city that's warm. I don't think many of these choices, because if it was about winning, I think he would maybe pick the Cavs, right?
but I
Like
think
he
there's
could fit in
also
on that roster. If it was about winning, he could fit.
it could also be about
Uh,
affordability too, like which
he
teams can
rich. I
afford
don't care
him.
about that.
No, I'm saying which teams can afford him because his contract's
Yeah,
going
but
to be
like,
150 million.
yeah, but like, okay, he's not dumb, of course. So
Yeah,
maybe he did factor that in. But I feel like a lot of people when they talk about trades, they don't factor it in, especially when they're stars, because they're just like make it happen.
yeah, for sure. We'll
So
see.
like maybe he was like, oh, let me also look at a team that can afford me. But like these are not any like okay. So like legitimately, let's do a thought exercise for 2 minutes. Let's pick
Not a
three
thought
better. Let's
exercise.
pick three better teams who are playoff contenders that he would instantly help. I'm going Cavs one because they don't have someone in his position, and I think
Yeah,
him and Donovan Mitchell could play well off each other,
yeah,
almost like he did with with Steph or whatever and Kyrie, and they have the defense and they have the young bigs. So
yeah.
Cavs are one. I wouldn't like him in the Celtics. Who else? Let's
Ew,
see.
not the Celtics at all, please.
Could you, I don't think they would do it. No, that doesn't. He also isn't going to want to go back to the Thunder.
No.
So uh,
We were thinking about viable options. It's not about to be the Grizzlies.
Minnesota.
It's not about to be the Wizards. It's not about to be the Nuggets. It's not like we were talking about real viable options. It's not about to be the Nets. It's not about to be the Knicks. It's not about to
No,
be Milwaukee.
he wouldn't be bad on the Knicks, but
He wouldn't be bad on the Knicks,
but
but he's
they
not.
have too
He's
many.
not.
They have too many ball
That's
handlers.
what I'm
Too many
saying.
like
He's a ball dominant forward.
Minnesota. Ant needs another. Ant needs another
Minnesota would
consistent
be a
scorer.
Minnesota would be good, but I feel like
And
you
I
can
mean,
tell
they're
he don't
right.
want to play with superstars. You can tell
But
because
that's so okay. See, that's my point. You said he's still playing because he wants to win a ring. It took us 2 minutes to say that was bullshit because he's not picking. He's not picking teams that where he's actually
where he's
going to
actually
win a
going to win.
ring.
But my thing
He
is,
picked
I
the
think
three
that's the
youngest teams in the
point. I
league.
think that's the
Also,
point is to he goes there and makes them the championship contender.
he
That's
ain't
the
gonna do
point.
that.
I
He
don't.
could if he listen.
I'm just telling you
Okay,
what I think. I don't know. Like,
I believe you. I believe you. I
because he's
think
still averaging 27 points a game. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at. Like, there's not a whole bunch of niggas that are averaging 27 points a game. So,
and what happened on the Suns?
well, that's a whole nother thing
A team
because,
that was winning before he got. And you know what? It's cool. It's all
but
right.
then other people started choking. That wasn't his fault. That was Devin Booker choking. That was Bradley Beal choking. That was CP3 choking. That wasn't on him. Because when you actually were watching those series, KD was actually doing his job. He was just surrounded by a whole bunch of people who weren't.
KD wants to be in women and weather, women wings and weather.
All right. Anyways,
that's what them three destinations tell me. Women wings and weather.
oh my gosh. But yes, I think there's also just a little bit of I think there's also just a matter of affordability as well because again, his contracts are going to be pretty high. But we'll see because again, like I said, the Suns organization said they gonna send him wherever they need to send him for a trade that makes sense. So, and at the end of the day, KD is a very very high value trade. So I have a very strong feeling they will be shopping him around to pretty much everyone to see what they're going to offer as far as assets for KD. So we're just going to have to see because it's really not
Yeah,
up to him at the end of the day.
yeah. I have no idea who's going to trade for him.
I don't either. But speaking of trades, actually this is not trade, but Russell Westbrook is going
I
to be
don't
a
care.
free agent
Retire.
again.
Absolutely retire. KD should retire just off of age and let the young guys cook, but he's still hooping.
Yeah,
Russ, go be a father.
it's time.
It's Father's Day. You have a beautiful wife. You have beautiful kids. You're also planning your life after basketball. You started your own magazine. You're doing a fashion
Yes, he's a
director
fashion
thing.
designer.
Like, brother, you're good.
Yep.
You're
He
okay.
is he is an unrestricted free agent. He declined his player option with the Denver Nuggets. And he will become an unrestricted free agent on June 30th. He's 36. He is pretty much he's bounced around from a lot of franchises. What is this now? His sixth, I think. He's been in
I
Houston.
can't even
He's
count.
been in Washington. He's been in LA. Both teams in LA. He's been obviously on the Thunder, which is where he started. And now he's on the Nuggets. So yeah, I do believe this is his sixth franchise. So He's looking to go to his seventh. We're gonna see how that goes. Oh, he went to Utah. He was also at Utah at one point,
See,
and then
that's
he
why I
got
told you I
waived.
couldn't count because he just like at
Yeah.
this point. It's,
So we're just gonna have to see what happens with Russell Westbrook because the poor baby. I mean, I know he wants a ring, and I can understand and respect that, but I just also just don't see like where that's happening. Now, to me, it makes sense for him to go to Minnesota. I feel like that would make sense.
no,
But also, hear me out, because I think that Ant could really do with the veteran knowledge. He could really do with it, because like no
but
shade
the
to Mike
playing
Conley.
style doesn't. It doesn't. No, no, especially not at this point.
I feel like I feel like Russ and Ant have the same level of aggression. It will force the defense to be honest. Like that's the
But they
thing that
can't
I'm
play
looking at.
together, especially the level that like Russ would just be on the court. Like nobody would be paying any attention to him, especially because he can't shoot. It would be 5-on-4.
I can't. I
He
can't.
would
He
be
can
out
shoot
there
at times. He
dancing.
can shoot at
No, he
times.
can't. No, he
I'm
can't.
screaming. Well, Russell
Rondo
Westbrook
could
is a
shoot
free
at
agent.
times too. I can shoot at times.
All right. Russell Westbrook is a free agent. Again, he's looking for his 27th franchise. So good luck to that man because it's not even about the money at this point. I'm not, I don't really know. But we'll see what jersey he ends up in next season, I guess. The last piece of news, and I don't have much to say about this because I don't really know much about this sport, but what I do know is the Florida Panthers are poised to potentially win a second Stanley Cup in a row, which is pretty iconic. Love that for them. Florida is hot, and they're winning in hockey. I think that's cool. That's all I have to say because I don't know nothing about hockey.
Yes, I have one thing to say, but I need to make sure that I'm right because I don't pay attention to hockey.
Okay, well, I know that they had. I think they go to 7 games too in hockey. So they just had game 5, and the Panthers are up 3-2. And there's a particular player whose name I can't remember. I think his first name is Brad, and he became like the first player in NHL history to basically do 2 consecutive game 5 winning like shots or something like that. I don't know if they're called shots. Um, Goals, scores, whatever.
Yeah, goals.
Somebody's going to correct me. So that's iconic. Love that for him.
Yes. Okay, so I was right. I do know what I'm talking about. Um,
I gave you the best that I had.
and I appreciate you. So, okay. So essentially, from my very, very, very limited understanding, um, Connor McDavid
That sounds
plays,
like a hockey player.
yes, he plays on Edmonton, which
Okay.
is the team that Florida's about to beat,
Okay.
potentially. Connor McDavid is like the LeBron James of hockey.
Oh.
But the problem is, he has never won a championship.
Oh.
So just a couple of things, right?
I hate
He's been an
myself.
all star. So he was all rookie in 2016. So he started in 2016. Okay. He's been an
Okay.
all star every single year except 2021. And maybe he was injured. He's been an all star every year except 2021. He's a 3-time MVP.
Oh. Come on, Asia Wilson.
He's a 5-time play. Like he has the award for the most goals scored in a season 5 times,
Oh wow.
and a bunch of other things. Like his trophy chest is insane. I
Period.
also think that he's won a lot on the international level, but he has never won the
The Stanley
NHL,
Cup.
the Stanley Cup. Thank you. And so I just thought
Wow.
that was interesting because, like, I don't know if people do this in other sports like they do in basketball specifically, but like, I wonder what the legacy conversation is like in hockey, or do they just be like, he's a great? But I think hockey is hard because I think like I do not want to say Wayne Gretzky. I'm pretty sure there's another hockey player that everyone's like, yeah, he's one of the best of all time ever, and he didn't win until like really late in his career. And this dude's only like 28 or something like that. So he has time. I just thought it was interesting. I just saw a couple of things randomly about it, like last year, because I think last year was his first time ever in the finals after he'd
Hmm.
already had 4 MVPs and like all this other kind of stuff, and then they lost. And then he's back this year, but it looks like they may lose again. And it's like the LeBron James is, you know, can't get the ring.
Period. I mean, honestly, I should probably get more into hockey because anytime I go to like a bar or somewhere and the hockey's on, I be watching it. I just don't know what's going on for real. It's kind of like how I feel about soccer. Like I can watch it, but I'm like, I really don't know what's going on. Like I know that you got to get the ball or the puck or whatever into the net, and y'all be running back and forth, and people got positions and stuff. But that's I don't know. I don't
Yes.
know. But like shout out to the people who play hockey, who know hockey, who love hockey. Love that for y'all. I know as a Dallas native that the Dallas Stars are like good at hockey right now. So I think we made the playoffs this year again. I know we made it last year. So like shout out to Dallas. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know anything about hockey, y'all. That's probably going to be my education for the next like sports like circuit is to get into the hockey. But speaking of sports circuits, this has nothing to do with sports circuits. For the 2 minute drill, I just had to just take a moment to talk about the fact that the girls are dropping 30 pieces. The girls are scoring 30 points per game. Okay. So the WNBA, obviously, we're in the fifth week of WNBA play. And Caitlin Clark had suffered an injury. She had suffered, I think it was like a quad injury or something like that. And so she had been out for 2 weeks, and everybody acted like the WNBA was going to crumble as it stood because she was not playing. It was very, very dramatic. Um, there was a whole bunch of information about how WNBA viewership went down and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. Everybody needs to calm down, take a deep breath, and drink some cool, fresh water. It is okay. It is it is fine. She came back yesterday and dropped 32 points on the New York Liberty's head, handing the New York Liberty their first loss of the season. So there are now officially no more undefeated teams in the WNBA. As many people know who have listened to the show for longer than 1 or 2 episodes, y'all know that I am not Caitlin Clark's biggest fan. But I gotta respect 9 points in 30 seconds. That girl dropped three threes in 30 seconds. I think that's a record. Like, I have to go look it up, but I'm pretty sure that's a record. Like, you got to respect it. So she dropped 32 points. I think she had like 8 or 9 assists. Really, really good game for her. She came back. She did really well. New York looked fine. They just weren't scoring, which is kind of what sucks. But it was really like the Sabrina Ionescu and Caitlin Clark show. And realistically, like Sabrina Ionescu is who everybody thinks Caitlin Clark is. So it was nice to see them actually match up against one another and hold their own. But I don't know if you saw that, but any thoughts?
I didn't watch the game. I saw that it happened, and the thing is just like, yeah, the girl can hoop. You know who else can hoop? Paige Beckers can hoop.
Period.
Paige Beckers dropped 35 in her return. She had a concussion, and then I think maybe she had like tweaked something a little bit, so she was out for 4 games.
4 games. Yeah.
Paige has, to call it up and down is wrong. Paige is very much, Paige is dealing with the thing that she's always dealt with, and that she's a good teammate, and so she doesn't want to just like take over games.
Correct.
And Gino has been yelling at her for like 5 years to do it, and so
Yes.
then you imagine she
And her
goes into the
AAU
W.
coaches and her high school
Yeah.
coaches and
Yeah,
everybody.
so like she goes into the W where she's a rookie. So yeah, in general, you're going to, like respect the vets. You're the new person, all of these sort of things. So she's just it's been trying to kind of feel it out. And then she came back from injury and had to remind y'all that like, yeah, I do this. You know
She
what I'm
had a
saying?
perfect first half, 7 of 7 from the field. And they did an interview with her, actually. I don't remember if it was before or after that game, where she basically spoke about the fact that like because she's a rookie, she didn't want to come in and kind of be like, oh, this is my shit now. She wanted to take a back seat and accept leadership. But she's in a particular position where that's not necessarily the attitude to have, because we don't have a point guard. And I say we because I am a Dallas Wings fan. We don't have a point guard. Taisha Harris is out for the season. She's had knee surgery. She was supposed to be that veteran point guard that Paige will play behind. We don't have that anymore. Arike, realistically speaking, is not a point guard. She is a 2. So, yes, you're a rookie, but now you're a point guard. So you do have to be a leader. Like, you do. So, I think she's just trying to figure out the balance of like being a leader, but also you're still a rookie, but also, figuring out the best ways to distribute the ball, figuring out the best ways to get Arike the ball where she can actually score, getting our bigs, Maisha Hines Allen and Naisha and Alyssa Smith the ball, things like that. And then you have Dejanay Carrington, who she's starting to score. And you got to figure out, where does Dejanay want the ball? Kind of can catch and shoot, but also like she's been encouraged to like put the ball in the deck and take it to the hole more. So I think it's just a matter of Paige really just feeling out the system and like where she fits and where she needs to start calling her own number. But she figured it out that day. 35 points.
And you know who else can hoop? Rakia Jackson can hoop. Rakia Jackson, I think I said this before, like, Rakia Jackson is, first of all, there's a couple of them, right? But like, Rakia Jackson is just like a pure hooper.
She's so pure. I
Like,
love
it's just
watching her
like,
play.
it's just so smooth. Like, I,
Oh, it's fantastic.
in a way, it sort of reminds me of like Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Like Melo, like I'm sorry, like right, we're gonna talk. You know, we don't have to get into the thing and the goats and like all of these things, but like just like straight up, just like put the ball in the basket. Right, everyone's
Go
doing
get
this
a bucket.
LeBron doesn't have a bag thing, which I'm not gonna get it. But if we're talking about bag, we're talking about bucket get. We're talking about just everything is beautiful. Everything is just it's instant. Like it just looks good. Like it just looks good.
Smooth hooping. Yeah.
That was Melo. That
Yeah.
is also Rakia. Rakia just it's effortless. And
It's
hopefully this 30-point game reminds her coach that she's on the team, but Rakia is nice.
Rakia is
Like
nice. This particular
yeah.
game was against Vegas. She got four, I believe, 3-pointers in the first quarter, and I think two or three of them were in a row. She is an all level scorer. She got these 30 points fully by scoring in all different areas, scoring in the paint, scoring out. Let me tell you something. Every time that girl takes a step back fadeaway, an angel gets its wings. I'm telling you. An angel gets its wings because her fader is gorgeous. It reminds me so much of the KD of the who's another good fader. Even SGA, which I know he's a little bit newer, but like the smoothness of his fader, of her fader, the Dirk Nowitzki 1 foot fader. Oh, that's what hers looks like. And I'm telling you, every time it happens, an angel gets its wings. That is just I don't make the rules. And then a 3-point shot, and I really, really believe that Unrivaled was so good for her because it gave her
Yes.
so much confidence to understand that like you just take the shot. Like, yes, you're a younger player, you're a rookie. She's not a rookie anymore, but like just take the shot. And I think she was doing a lot of that at the end of last season, but now it's like coming into this season, like kind of establishing yourself as like the scorer. I know you have Kelsey Plum, and Kelsey Plum is great, but at the end of the day, Kelsey Plum is also going to start. It has already started drawing 2 or 3 defenders, so you just got to be ready because she has to have somebody to kick it out to. Like I'm obsessed. I actually genuinely just can't wait until Cam Brink gets back in
Yes.
because
And that's the thing. Unrivaled is like I know it's technically competition for the W and of sorts, but for individual players, Unrivaled is the best thing that's happened.
development
Because like
is
you do
happening.
still have to like learn how to play team basketball, and you have to do all of this stuff, right? Like all of that's important. 3-on-3 is not 5-on-5, et cetera, et cetera. I get all that. But the things that 3-on-3 does for you, it helps your offensive bag because there's less rolls. You're not getting as many set plays. You're not doing
Mhm.
as many like pick and roll, like all this other
You
kind of
have to
stuff.
get
Like
a bucket.
sometimes you just got to get a bucket. And then the
Yes.
second thing is it helps your one-on-one defense because there's no help. Not that there's no help defense, but there's not a lot of help defense. So
No.
you got to be a one-on-one defender as well. Otherwise, you're gonna get cooked. And we saw some of them ladies getting cooked. Like that. That's how it goes. So, um, yeah, yeah. Unrivaled was
Speaking
huge for
of,
her. It was huge for Angel. It was huge for Aaliyah Edwards. It
it was
was
huge for Chelsea Gray. And even
yeah,
though she's a vet, like it was huge for her because I feel like a lot of people forgot who she was for real. So
yeah,
like it was huge for her. And you know who else it was huge for? Jackie Young. Because in
yes,
that same game, Jackie dropped 34. And I think a lot of people don't realize how pure of a scorer Jackie Young is as well, because she was injured last year. She was kind of in and out, but and things like that. And she was even in and out of Unrivaled. But the thing about it was when she did play, when she did pick up that ball in Unrivaled, unstoppable. And the thing about Jackie Young that I love so much is that she does it so like quietly. Like she's just so like F what the rest of y'all talking about. I'm gonna go get a bucket. I don't know what the rest of y'all are doing because the Las Vegas Aces realistically do not look good, both with Asia and without her, which is very sad. But because it's not Asia's fault. I'm gonna be clear. It's not Asia's fault. Asia is leading the team in all categories, which is a problem. She should not be leading the team in steals, assists, blocks, rebounds, and points. That's crazy. That's I don't even know what to say to that. But what I can appreciate is, unfortunately, Asia Wilson did suffer a concussion in that game against LA. I believe, or maybe it was the game
Yes.
after that. But she suffered a concussion. She went out of the game. She's concussed. She is out until for concussion protocol, which is usually about 3 to 4 games. And Jackie Young is like, okay, that's fine because I got y'all. She's somebody who's going to go get a bucket. And she does it in a way where it's also very, very smooth, but so aggressive. She gets in the paint, she gets stuff done. And I don't think we give her enough respect as far as what it is that she can do just on her own because she's been playing with Asia and Chelsea and Kelsey and all of that. So I love that this is kind of like her moment where she can say, like, yeah, this is what I do for real. Like,
Yeah, like I'm.
period.
Don't forget about me.
Don't forget about Jacqueline Young, okay?
Listen.
I love the purple hair. I know this doesn't matter, but Jackie Young usually her hair is black. And then she added the blonde this season and now her hair is purple and I love it. I love that the girls are trying. Speaking of other colored hair, Dejanay Carrington is pink right now. Love that for her. And Natisha Heidemann cut all her hair off and dyed it pink. I love it.
Hey. Um.
That's all I have
So
to say.
that's the W. The girls are
Period.
hooping. Um.
Chicago Sky just
Yeah.
won their game today, so they finally have kind of figured something out.
Yeah.
I think that was their third win. Third
Yes,
win.
it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
their third win of the season. So shout out to the Chicago Sky. Shout out to Angel Reese, who is going to be the future one of the best facilitators in the league. Mark my words.
Yeah. I think that this is just like a quick aside. I think that the W season is weird. I can't wait to see the W in like 5 years because, or even longer, because I feel like it just started, and then I'm seeing things talking about like vote for All Star, and I'm like, they played like 6 games. Like, how are we voting All Stars already?
Well, some teams have played like 12 now,
Yeah, it's just the
but
season is weird and it's short, and they're figuring it out. But like, I just thought it was like, and it's not like, but at the end of the day, like right, like the Chicago Sky played 10 games. They're 3-7, and we're talking about All Star,
yeah,
which you do have to do that before you get to the middle of the season. But it just
yeah,
feels so quick. So I
yeah.
think it'll
It's
be
it's
good
rather
in five,
early.
10 years when I think they get closer to 60 games and things like that.
Yeah,
So
and they're gonna have to do that because I mean, there's gonna be 15, 16 franchises next season, so
yeah.
they're gonna have
Also,
to.
you want more money. You need more games. Like
Hello.
you know,
So
it is.
it does feel early for All Star. I have been voting. It does feel early for All Star, especially considering that like a lot of time these teams. It feels even more earlier right now because the majority of these teams are new. Like there's the only teams that had real continuity, as you guys know, with the WNBA preview were New York and Minnesota. The rest of these teams are basically new. 8 of these teams have new coaches, so it's kind of hard to even gauge who the All Stars are because these people are still like realistically learning how to play with each other. But I also will say that the contenders for All Star still makes sense. Another person who has been very, very heavily affected by their time in Unrivaled is Brittany Sykes, for instance. She's poised to get her first All Star bid, which is great. Like she's averaging 20 points a game. She should have an All Star bid. So I don't know. It is interesting. It does feel early, but we also vote on All Star for like a month.
Yeah. So
So
no. Okay. So in our power sweep, we are talking about basketball, the
oh my
other
god,
basketball, the
more
men's
basketball.
basketball. So we are in the NBA Finals. Since we have last talked, games 2, 3, and 4 have happened.
Three whole
We
games
are tied 2-2, and game 5 is
tomorrow or today,
tomorrow. Today,
Monday.
as you're listening,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
where is it at?
It is in Oklahoma.
In
So
Oklahoma.
a lot of people are like, why are the games all weirdly spread out? It's the travel, right? So you had the two games that happened within a day of each other, 1 and 2, and then they traveled. So they have to have at least one day. And then they traveled, they go to the Pacer, they go to Indiana, they had game 3 and 4, basically one day between. And now they have their 3 days where they're back in OKC. They play their game in OKC. And then we go back and forth from there. So if there's a
It's
game 7 will be in OKC.
Yeah, the schedule's still too far away for me. I don't care. You're professionals. Get over it. But the one
I'm
series shouldn't take
trying.
an entire month. Like it just shouldn't take an
It
entire
should
month.
not, but that's also
Game,
what the NBA does.
yeah, and they need to get over it. So,
I don't really
anyways,
like the travel aspect of it. Like, I'm not a fan. I really would love for it to be like neutral sites, but I get that that's,
I don't even I don't even I like that. I just don't think you need so many days in between. Like,
but you kind of do though.
no, you don't.
You,
They're professionals.
Okay, so anyways, game two.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna feel bad for someone making $100 million because you had to play 2 games in 2 days. Like, get
Yeah.
over
But
it.
I mean, I think it's also, I don't know. I respect recovery a lot. And I feel like when you are traveling, you need at least 1 day from travel to recover and
But the
then
thing
go
is, they don't
play.
get that 1 day in the regular season. And I understand you can say that the playoffs is different, but that's not how the schedule works in the regular season.
They still
And
get a day. They still
not
get a day.
always,
If they're traveling back and forth amongst, like, if they're on like an away trip, they still get a day. They
but
get
that's
one
a
day.
day. They're getting four.
This is the longest stretch that we've had in the series, but which is 3 days because they played on Friday. So this is the longest stretch we've had is 3 days, and they always have 3 days in between the games when they travel back and forth, or at least two. Well, ciao. Anyways, game two.
Listen, I'm just saying it shouldn't take a month to play 7 games. That's it. That's all. I don't think
But
that's
also
too
at the same
crazy.
time, we know that this is also the NBA. This is a part of this has to do with the athletes themselves, but then also a part of this has to do with the NBA and the scheduling and them wanting to have certain TV times and all that other stuff. So we also know that. I'm just being. What do you want me to say?
I don't want you to say anything. I just want to get it off my chest that it's stupid. Anyways,
All
games
right.
2, 3, 4. How are we feeling about the series?
Listen, man, the thing that is so interesting about these teams, right, is the fact that they are probably, and I think many people have been saying this in the media, this is one of the most evenly matched series that we've had in a really long time. Because the Pacers are one of the best teams as far as away teams go, and the Thunder is a team that doesn't lose 2 games in a row. And that's how we end up here with the teams being 2-2, and they're passing dubs back and forth, right? But then it's also OKC doesn't usually lose at home, but they're playing against one of the best away teams. So I don't know. This has been very, very exciting. The basketball has been extremely fun. The referees have finally swallowed their whistles for once in their god darn lives. So I'm very excited about that. They're actually letting these men play, and there's some contact, and there's some ferocity to the game. So um, I'm here for it. And it's one of those types of series where at any given point you just can't count out either team. Game two obviously was a very, very decided win by the Thunder. They came out, they scored a lot, and pretty much choked up Indiana from the beginning. But in game three, it was extremely competitive, and there were like many, many lead changes, many, many ties. It really truly came down to the last 30 seconds as far as who was going to win that one. And then the Pacers came out with that dub, and then last night, I'm lying, Friday, the Pacers and the Thunder, of course, have their fourth game. And honestly, I OKC didn't really like win it with like a hard punch. They kind of were like, it was like a winded win. They were like,
Yeah,
we just
well,
got to
because they
make
had
this
to come
happen.
back. Okay, so, I mean, the
Yes.
Pacers were up 10 or 11 at one point, and they had to
Yeah.
kind of come back to get the dub. So,
Yeah. They outscored them 31-17 in the fourth quarter. So they definitely were working hard to try to make something happen. But that's the thing. Like you just never know. So I'm very, very excited. There's no way this series is not going to 7 games. There's no way. Um and I'm still on the Indiana train. I still think they're gonna win. But child, who
yeah,
knows?
I think that this game is really interesting too because it's like we talked about the superstar thing and whatever, and it's like SGA has just dropped like 30 almost every game, and Tyrese Halliburton
Yes.
has been very up and
35 in
down.
game four, 34, I think, in game. No, actually, he did not drop 30 in game three. I don't know how many. He was not the top scorer for OKC that game. Jalen Williams was actually for game three. And then for game two, he dropped 34. So yeah.
Yeah, so, but like he's for the most part he's been consistent, but then Tyrese hasn't. But they're finding their team ball and all these other kind of things. It's an interesting series for sure. I think it's one of them. Like I'm not gonna get into the politics of basketball and people talking about like if you're a real hooper and you like this series, these are two teams and all this. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. But it's a competitive series,
Well,
and
yeah, because a lot of people were saying they didn't want to watch Indiana and OKC play. And I'm like, y'all don't know hoops for real if y'all don't want to watch these two teams play. I'm gonna
yeah,
say it. Y'all don't know hoops for real if y'all don't want to watch these two teams play. I'll
it's been
say it.
said.
I will
Um,
say it. You do not know good hoops.
so who are we going seven, and both teams, everyone wins at home. So it goes Thunder five, Pacers
No,
six, Thunder and seven.
no. I think that the Pacers are going to win the game five. I think that then, because here's the thing, OKC doesn't lose twice in a row. So the Pacers are going to win game five. OKC is going to go to Indiana. They're going to win game six. And then we're back in OKC for game seven. And realistically, I think the Pacers still win the championship, which is going to be very ghetto for the crowd. But I think the Pacers are still going to win that championship.
That's fun. We'll see. Yeah, no, it's been an interesting series. I have actually watched basketball this time.
I know
I
you
turned
texted
on the
me about it.
finals.
He
So
called me, you guys. He texted me and he called me. He's like, "Are you watching the game?" And I was like, "Not to checking to see if I'm watching."
yeah, I told you I'd watch eventually. It's
It only
eventually.
took you to game three in the finals.
Hey,
You watch when it matters. I
it's
feel you.
eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched, I did, I caught it. I put it on the TV. Um, but yeah, so we'll see. And I just want to take this moment to say again that part of the reason people aren't excited about this series and aren't excited about basketball as a whole and things like that is a two-pronged problem. One
Mhm.
being the NBA just does not market its young superstars or its other teams to the point where, like, if you weren't really, really hooping, like if you weren't really, really paying attention, you may not have known how good Tyrese Halliburton was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and like
I
he
agree.
still has his ups and downs and things like, but like he's not even in the marketing of stars. He's not someone that they would have marketed. So then you're like,
He's
how
not
did
one
this
of the
guy
main
get
guys.
here? But like he's been good for a couple of years. But the other problem is the Stephen A. Smith universe and
Ugh.
this just the universe of people making the sport about themselves and talking about things that they don't know. Stephen, and it really does start with Stephen A. Smith, especially because so many of them they get on his show and then they turn into that. Like Kendrick Perkins was never the best analyst, but he used to be decent, and
Pretty
now he makes
fair.
everything personal. Like and I could be wrong about this, but I remember when he first started, I actually think like he liked LeBron. And like he would like defend
Yeah.
him in the GO argument and stuff. And now
Yeah.
he's talking about like I blocked LeBron on social media and like all
He
these other
literally was
kind of
like, "Yeah,
things.
LeBron unfollowed me on Instagram." First of all,
And
this
it's
is
just
not Wendy Williams. This is
and it,
first take.
and it's just like you just get on there and it's like, oh, like I used to be good at this. Now let me just make it about me and let me just like and it's just it sucks. Like the best part about the basketball discourse right now is the podcast of former players. But they're
Paul
not
George's
really
podcast is
getting
amazing.
like the talk and other sort of things. Like Stephen A. Like literally, and it's to the point where like, why are you so sensitive? Like Tyrese Halliburton basically like, I don't care what anyone says or whatever, and then Stephen A. goes on a rant about, were you talking about me? Just remember that, and it's like Stephen
Stephen
A.
A has
Shut
been doing a
up.
lot of that this year because he did it to LeBron too. He was like, "I'm still gonna be here after you retire." First of all, obviously, all you do is sit at a desk. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, that doesn't make you more iconic than LeBron. Are you joking? Or have you lost your mind? It's because ESPN is
Yes.
paying him too much.
And
ESPN is
that's
paying him too much.
and there's no one reigning in the media. And the thing is, NFL has its issues, but there is no one who gets to act like that in the NFL media. No
It's
one.
pretty widespread stupidity in the NFL media.
Wait, what?
It's widespread stupidity. Like it's not just one guy. It's like everybody has a chance to say something dumb. One week it's Tony Romo, the next week it's somebody else. Like everybody has a chance to say something dumb in the NFL media is what I'm saying. It
Oh,
feels like
I don't even entirely disagree. I don't even entirely agree with that. But even if that's true, my more point is there's no one in NFL media. You are not allowed to make the sport about you.
oh yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Now, are there dumb people? Yeah, of course. Like,
Yeah,
let's be
Tony
honest. But
Romo talking
like,
about I don't want to vote for what's his name? Why did I just lose his name? Lamar Jackson cuz it's just so many times he's won. Like shut up.
yeah, but honestly, he's just saying the quiet part out loud because they
Yeah.
all feel like that. But it's just like
Yeah.
because Josh Allen shouldn't have won that MVP. That's not the
Ugh,
point. But he
that's okay.
shouldn't have. So it's just but in the NFL, like there's not a single first of all, I just think the sport's different. I think they're
Yeah.
also more
It's covered
respectful of their
different.
peers.
Yeah.
Like especially the former players and things. Like you do
Yeah.
get a little hating. Like you do, of course. Like Tom Brady hates a little bit. Peyton Manning hates a lot. But it's not about the player. it's about like for lack of a better term, it's about the righteousness of the position. Like Peyton
The
Manning
style, yeah,
loses his mind when a quarterback doesn't throw like the check down. Like
yeah.
it's not about the person. It can be anybody. But if you are playing
It's like
football bad,
style. It's like
yeah, like
structure.
if
Yeah,
Peyton Manning is like, it's wide open. Why are you running? Like it doesn't matter who it is. He's gonna be mad. So like it's
yeah,
like you get
yeah,
stylistic things like that where
yeah.
people like a certain thing. You get right. Like some people don't. Some people love the running quarterback, and some people are worried about injuries, and some people love the 3 yard in the cloud of dust, and other people like the Saquons. But like you get differences, right? But like there is not a single person in NFL media who gets to make the NFL about them.
Because it's also there's not there's not a like First Take is a show that covers all sports, right? But there's also just not a central personality in the NFL. There's
And I
so
don't think the
many.
NFL would let that happen
I don't think so either.
because at
There's
the end
so
of the
many
day,
personalities that you kind of get this widespread range of opinions. Then you get over here and it's just Stephen A. And it's been Stephen A. for such a
yeah,
long time that
and
now it's kind of like this big headed, like, yeah, I'm the guy, like energy because there's not
think
enough
about
voices.
yeah, and like Stephen A. has tried it with NFL, and NFL athletes have went on his show and was like, "Hey, dog,
Relax.
shut up." You know what I'm saying?
Try it with somebody
Like
else.
when Skip left to do his own show, that show became more about football than basketball. If you really
Mm.
paid attention, because he was trying to make his own niche. He did the LeBron thing, but he kept like his co-hosts were NFL players. Like he really tried to link to the NFL thing. And when Skip went too far, they got him off air. They said, "How many Hall of Famers have you disrespected?"
Get this
Uh
man
uh-uh.
out of here.
uh
I thought
like
Shannon was gonna come across that desk. I thought Shannon
yeah.
was gonna
So
come
it's
across
just
that desk when Skip was talking crazy. I was like, does Skip know who he's talking to?
yeah, and like that, like and so for whatever reason, it's just and like that is the problem. Like, and listen, there is still issues with NFL media,
Yeah.
starting with the draft. Like that is some of the worst parts of NFL coverage. The
Yeah.
draft is god awful, but I want it's starting with the podcast. Hopefully, they start to get the jobs right. Like some of them want it to be a job. Like I think Carmelo is getting hired by
Yeah.
NBC or something like that. I just need the players to take back basketball.
I need Dwayne Wade immediately.
Yeah,
The
like
way that he covered the Olympics, I'm like,
oh, so good, so
y'all
good.
not giving him one gig this
Well,
whole NBA season is crazy.
I think Dwayne Wade doesn't want it. The singular second he wants to be an analyst, everybody's hiring him.
I
But
would be upset.
his
I actually
feet
think
is in
he is.
so many other things.
I think he's doing prime. Oh,
Did he just get hired for Prime?
I,
Because that's the
I
thing. Like,
I might be lying. I might be lying because I did just see them announce something with Prime, and I want to say I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and keep lying. I'm just saying Dwayne Wade is he was fantastic, and he was
Carmelo is
fantastic.
great.
And he was fantastic because he sat on that broadcast and said, "I am not an analyst. I'm just gonna tell you what I know as a hooper." That's all we want at the end of the day. Tell us what you know as a hooper.
Yes, yes. Dwayne Wade.
Okay, I was right. Yay,
Oh, is this Tony Parker? I haven't heard him in a minute. Where did he
Tony
come from?
Parker. Yeah,
Is that right?
yes.
No, it's Candace
Dang.
Parker.
Oh,
It only
well,
said
Candace Parker is
Parker.
good too.
No,
Candace Parker's good
I
too.
love Candace. That's even better for me. But I was like,
Yeah.
Parker, where's Tony at? I don't even think he's in
I was gonna say, I
America
think Tony
anymore.
is like
I
in
think he's
Belize
back
or
in
something.
France or something. Like,
Like, he don't care.
Why did Tony get a job? All right. So, Dwayne Wade, Candace Parker, Steve Nash, and Udonis Haslam will anchor
Yes.
coverage for Prime.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
And
Dawn
I think
Staley
Carmelo.
is. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Dawn Staley did just get added to the WNBA pre, post, and mid game show for the Saturday broadcast, I believe, and she did fantastic last week. So, love that for Dawn Staley. Love to hear her talk.
Yes, and I think NBC. I could be wrong. So Michael Jordan is joining NBC. Vince Carter is joining NBC. I also feel like they mentioned Carmelo is doing something with NBC. Carmelo's supposed to be doing something with one of them. Yeah, Carmelo's also joining NBC. So like the basketball players they're starting to fight back. They're starting to fight back, and that is one of the good things I think with unfortunately TNT getting pushed out because TNT was established, so they're not going to break that up. And that was amazing. It was great. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But when it was only TNT and ESPN, ESPN hires idiots and TNT is established. So now with the new ones, and like NBC did this when they went into football, Amazon did this, like they go for legends. Like
They're
their
gonna
big
get the
thing is
guys.
like,
Yeah.
we want people who played the game. And so hopefully finally it's starting to come back, because even Brian Windhorst is making himself an ass. He made an entire career off LeBron, and now he's trying to critique LeBron. He literally, and it's just like, and they're just all sensitive, which is my biggest issue. He goes out, Brian Windhorst goes out and says, nobody, essentially says, no one's going to watch LeBron's podcast because he talks too in depth about basketball. And LeBron responds, and now it's a whole thing because LeBron is being
Now we got
mean to
beef.
Windhorst.
Yeah.
How about Windhorst shut
Shut
the
up.
fuck up? Secondly, do you not think that there are people alive who want to talk about basketball and actually like talk basketball
With LeBron
who
James.
don't want to do the soap opera? Like, I'm sorry, basketball is not just about legacy. It's not just about rings. It's not just about being cool. Like, that is what and the media is so
Ridiculous.
fucked up in their mind that they are pushing back against the narrative that people want to talk real hoops,
Hoops.
that people want to talk schemes and plays and designs. Like what? And again, in the NFL, people will talk about schemes and players will be like, you're a fucking idiot. like literally, like to the point where like in the NFL, to be real in the NFL media, you have to understand football.
You gotta know it. You can't
Man,
just
woman,
sit
or
up there
other.
and talk.
Man, woman, or other, and if you don't, they will let you know. And in the NBA, they get to go up there and not even talk about it. They don't even.
No, they're talking about
talk
personalities
anything.
and who they like and who their friends are. And then, damn, Stephen A. is still like, yeah, I just am not convinced about Tyrese Halliburton after game 3. Shut up. What do you mean? What are you talking
what's
about?
the data? What are you like? What is it like? Where it's gotten down to, you're talking about who has a bag. Like it's disgusting.
What? No. So I'm here for it. I'm very excited about especially NBA media being a little bit more spread out, because like I mentioned in the last episode, I am so upset that the coverage that we have for this particular NBA finals is not from inside the NBA. Because can you imagine the comedy that we would get from Ernie, Shaq, Kenny, and Charles with this series? The comedy that is being left on the table. I have to listen to freaking Stephen A. and Kendrick Perkins and who are the other two randoms during halftime. Because I'm one of those people, as an aspiring member of sports media, I'm one of those people who pays attention to those things. I watch the pregame shows. I watch the halftime shows. I watch the postgame shows. I watch SBL or SBP. What's his name? Scott Van. Yes, I watch SBP on Score Center at midnight. I watch the TV. I watch the sports media. I can't believe that these are the people I have to listen to during the NBA finals. I can't believe it.
And then you watch the past podcast clips and you're like, so refreshing.
I want to hear people talk about hoops. Like, shout out to Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report has put so much funding behind Candace Parker and the content that she wants to make, and I love it. She has her own show, obviously called The Trophy Room, but she also has a show where she like breaks down film with college athletes, and she tells them about schemes, and she talks to them about how they can be better, and she's pausing, and she's like, you get to watch basically 20-minute coaching sessions with Candace Parker. Like, that is what I want to watch.
Why is basketball? NFL has been doing that for years. The NFL's been doing it for so long. There are multiple shows that do it. There's Peyton's Places. There's John Gruden's show, which he does with for the draft with quarterbacks. There's so many things. Like, you get on there, and then Peyton has another show now, the Monday Night Show, which is essentially 90% them just talking about scheme. You have people who break down these things. You have Baldy, who is an offensive lineman, his whole thing is like, hey, you may not know this player, but this guy's a dog. Here's 8 clips of him doing something cool, right?
Yeah.
You have people who are like, man, no one's talking about offensive line. Let's talk about offensive line. Now they grade offensive line to the point where now there's an offensive line award. I don't know if we talked about that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he said that there should be one. Is this the same guy?
I don't know, but
there was a guy who was in. Oh God, I don't know what team he plays for. I actually saved the clip on Twitter where he spoke about how the people in the O-line do not get awarded enough, and if there's one thing he's going to do before he leaves the NFL is make sure that is an award.
So
basically.
Yes, probably, but that's not. So that is the current player who like really advocated it and made it happen. Baldy is an ex player. He's older,
Okay.
like 40s or whatever, and literally his entire Twitter is just like, this dude's good. Like, this
Yeah.
dude's good, right? Like, so it's just like all of these, just celebrating the game, like looking at the ins and outs, and it's just like, where is that? Like,
I
why
want to
is
celebrate the
nobody
game
sitting
again.
down with Dwayne Wade? Why is nobody sitting down with LeBron? Why is no one sitting down with Steph and watching film and talk? Why is no one sitting down with Ant? Like, how did you do this? No one is sitting down with Jalen Williams and the rookies. Like,
Yeah.
what has anybody talked to Wemby? Like, has
Has
anybody?
anybody talked to Wimby? No, that's so
What
real.
Cooper
That's
Flag is going to the NBA? Why are we not talking about his game and letting
but
him
that's the
talk
reason why
about
we
it? And it's
have
just
this is why I respect what Draymond Green and what Paul George are doing because they're filling that gap with their podcast. Dwayne Wade is also trying to fill that gap with his podcast. He does it with both on the women's side and the men's side. I appreciate that because LeBron James was not wrong a couple months ago where he said the coverage of our sport is unserious. Now that's not
yes.
exactly what he said, but that's pretty much what he meant. The coverage of our sport is unserious. And
And
I'm glad that we're finally
he had to go on a quote unquote football show
the
to
Pat
do it.
McAfee show. Right.
Because that's
Yeah.
a football show. Everyone
Yeah.
there is a football player. It's mainly about football. He had to go there, and it was like, why did you go to Pat McAfee? What name the basketball show he could have done that
What
on?
show can I go on and talk about hoops? Where am I going? I'm not going anywhere. And that's why I'm like, I appreciate so much that we're finally getting to a point where like at least somebody is actually talking about the hoops. That's one of the reasons why I'm drawn to the WNBA more than the NBA because even when you listen to the commentation of the games, they're talking about flare screens and going over it and going under and the actual game. Whereas like when you're listening to the NBA broadcast, depending on who you're listening to, because Doris Burke is really good about actually talking about the game and like Reggie Miller and like those people and obviously Kevin Harlan. But like some of the
Richard Johnson's
commentators,
good.
who?
That's not his name. Richard Jefferson.
Richard Jefferson, yes, and there's a coach too who I can never think. Van Gundy, Scott
Stan.
Van.
Stan Van Gundy.
Yes, he's
But to
great
the
too.
point, he got fired by ESPN. That's why ESPN's coverage is so bad, because he's no longer on
He's not on
there.
ESPN. I know. So I'm just like, some of the commentators, I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, what are y'all talking about? I don't know why. Explain to me what I'm watching. Talk to me about how SGA was able to get that midi, how he was able to get that midi because Lou set a really, really great screen and then came over. I want to talk about that. I don't want to listen to y'all talk about how everybody hates SGA because he's a free throw merchant or whatever. I
You don't need that.
I thought to see
So
we are tired of the coverage
yeah.
because
So
that was
and
not even a topic.
no, I don't even. That was my fault. I don't know how I got in that. It was just making me
We
mad.
are tired of the coverage.
Stephen A. Universe is pissing me off. So
I'm
yeah.
ready for him
So
to
but
retire.
we'll and we won't get what we should get out of this, because the next thing that's going to happen is they're immediately going to say, well, can insert whoever wins repeats, and it's like, that's not the most important thing in basketball. But okay, so
It's not.
basketball's
Um,
happening.
it
You still
is
have the
lots,
Pacers in
lots of it.
seven. You have the Pacers winning in seven
I do.
on Oklahoma City's court.
I know, isn't that insane?
Big
But they're the
drama.
best away team, so it kind of is so apropos that they would win the championship as the away team, right?
And it would
Like,
just be funny that they lose, like at home. like,
and it would be
it's
insane
just,
considering again that OKC does not lose at home, not typically. But
yeah,
it's the way that the Pacers stole game one that makes me really believe that if there's any team that's going to beat OKC at home, it is going to be the Pacers. So that's why I'm just like, I hate to say it, but I think they're dropping confetti for the Pacers and they're going to accept their trophy in an empty stadium. Like, I really think that's what's going to happen. Like, I do.
hey, it is what it is.
I do.
All right, so that's the show. That's basketball.
It
We
is.
are going to end, as we always do, with our 2 minute warning. I do not have a 2 minute warning today because I could not think of anything that made sense in conjunction with yours. So
Oh,
yours is just both of ours. Because yours is like very serious, and like I couldn't be
I
like,
know.
"Ooh, I'm about to buy a video game or something stupid," and then you'd be
But
like,
like, I think we need to lighten the mood. So like, if you have something stupid, please say something stupid because
I don't have anything stupid. I stopped thinking about it when I saw yours.
I know I'm sorry, but this is something that I am just absolutely not going to let a show go by and not talk about this. And I'm not going to obviously get too deep in it. I'm just going to say a couple things. Number one, my heart goes out to all the people in Los Angeles and everything that is going on in Los Angeles, because it makes absolutely no sense that you are coming out and you are exercising your amendment, your First Amendment right to protest the things that are going on, and the National Guard is being released, and the police are arresting you, and the police are damaging their own vehicles and then blaming it on protesters, and all the things that are going on. They're being painted as these violent people who are coming out and just trying to like cause all these issues and trouble when that's not really what's going on. And this is
And
something that is. Mhm.
the National Guard, I just want to emphasize the National Guard being released illegally.
Illegally, because you're not allowed to do that. Thank you very much. There is a judge. Oh, thank God for these judges who were like, haha, Donald Trump, you can't do that. But at the end of the day, that was a decision that was made. Um, every single day, it feels like we are living in a more and more militarized state. There has been also cops in Las Vegas that have been basically pre-arresting people. Like they are arresting. The headline literally said they're arresting rioters before they start to riot. You quite literally cannot arrest people just because they might commit a crime. That is
Like,
not how that works. So, and again, there's protests happening all over the nation. Donald Trump is the first president in American history to have a protest against him in every single state in the nation. That's embarrassing. Okay. And I mean, they even the parade he had yesterday, they were protesting at his parade because to treat people as less than human is just not something that I'm ever going to stand behind. I don't give a crap. I don't care what these people came here to do. I don't care that they're not here, quote unquote, legally. And to that point, I want somebody to tell me all the steps from start to finish, how you get here legally. Because not to be realistic, none of us damn know, because none of us are immigrants. So to sit here and be like, well, if they just came legally, we wouldn't have these problems. Shut up. Do you understand how hard that is? And how expensive that is? We make it very hard to become a citizen in America.
also,
Okay.
why does it matter?
Also, who cares? Because the people who are actually violent and the people who are actually causing real issues and committing real crimes in America are American.
Yeah, and the other thing is just like there's like, oh, they're illegal, they're doing all these things, and so and they're like, okay, so why are they being arrested at their job?
Why are they going to construction sites rounding people
like
up?
you're arresting them at work.
Oh, but they're
You
lazy and
you
they're at home and they're collecting Medicaid on the couch, which, by
right,
the way, is not a thing. You don't
not
collect
possible.
Medicaid because it's not a check. Stupid. I'm getting off track. The point is, my heart goes out to the people in LA. There are some resources that you guys can donate to if you want to donate to them. I will be posting those on my social medias if you want to get involved or in any way. But I have a lot of respect for the people who are out there who are protesting, who are saying that they do not believe that this is right, because it is not right to violate somebody's human rights just because you feel like they don't belong here, especially when we stole this land. Oh, let me not get too woke today. That's really it.
And the the only the only thing to add to that, and when this happened at the election, I didn't want to hear it, and I still don't necessarily want to hear it, but I think it is becoming true that there's this sort of like theory or whatever that when in society, when something is dying, right, it gives its last, like this last big effort, and it feels
Hmm.
awful, like it feels really bad, but then you sort of overcome it and it's done. And so there was this sort of thought that this was white supremacy's last big
Ditch
effort and that
effort.
they were going to
Yeah.
put everything into it. And what you're seeing is that it is uniting people.
Yeah.
And so the hope is that it continues to unite people in the voting booth. And while we can't vote for a president again for 3 years, there is midterm elections.
There are
And
midterms.
if
Yep.
the nature of the House and the Senate changes, that is then another layer of protection that will be afforded to the people. Um, and also, you know, fuck around and find out. Because unfortunately,
People aren't taking this laying
you
down.
were told, like
Yeah.
you were warned, and so many people that went one way are being affected. Like that's the thing. It's just like it affects everyone. Like right, like it affects everyone, and people are starting to understand that now. Um,
I also would like to address the people who keep saying, well, this is not what I voted for.
yes,
Shut
it
up.
is. It is
And that's all I
specifically.
have to say. Shut up. Because
It
yes,
is
it is.
specifically.
Y'all were at those rallies where they were holding those disgusting signs that said mass deportations now, and you have the audacity to say that you didn't think that this is what you voted for. Shut up. Yes, you did. Every single thing that that man stood up and said he was going to do, he has done. So what are you talking
Plus
about?
some.
You didn't vote for this. What are you talking about? Shut up. You're just upset because it actually affects you and your family, and you just can't believe that your ass is getting deported or that your mom is getting deported or whatever else is going on. Shut up. I don't want to
Yes.
hear it. I don't want to
And
hear it.
yes, agreed, 100%. And you wanted to end the show on a good note, so we're going to end on a good note. On the same topic, though, two things that are happening. One, Gavin Newsom is hilarious. This is not a pro Gavin Newsom podcast, in that I won't do that for anyone really. But
Yeah,
Gavin
yeah.
Newsom is hilarious. I think the one of the best things that can happen right now is that Democrats use social media to their benefit, because if you're really paying attention, part of the reason we are in the place that we are is that so many podcasts, especially podcasts and things and clips and social media, etc., that are geared towards young men are Republican,
Mm-hmm.
and super, like there's some, like
Red
there's the
pill.
trad wife, there's red pill,
Yeah.
there's all these things, and so there's not sort of the other end of it where it's just like funny people doing things who are also left leaning or moderate or like care about people, and like they're playing the game, like just these things. So the Democrats and these people getting on social media and cracking these jokes and making these videos, and Gavin Newsom doing the TikTok to it's getting sticky, and putting
Mm-hmm.
videos of Donald Trump talking about you lose and him falling up the stairs. Like, kids are on social media. Like, if you want people to know who you are, you want people to vote, you got to be on social media. And so I just think it's funny that like some of this is being attacked in social media. And the other thing about social media that is hilarious is all of the people who are getting deported, and they're like, "Thank you for the vacation. I'll be back next week."
I have
Did you
not
see?
seen that.
You
No,
haven't?
that's
Oh my god!
hilarious.
There's one in particular that went like really viral, and I'll see if I can find it to you. I'll send it to you. He actually tagged Donald Trump. He was literally like, "I'm being deported." He's like, "But it's really just a week vacation that my boss wouldn't give me. So thank you, Donald Trump, for the vacation." So it
Oh my
shows him
god.
getting deported, and then he like tracks it. Obviously, he doesn't show how he did it, because right, but like it shows him on the way. Getting, like, he's like, I'm in the van right now. I'm on my way back to the United States, and then it stops because, of course, he's not going to show you step by step because then they're going to stop people from getting in. And then
I'm
he
crying.
comes back and he's in like fucking Las Vegas with a Mexican flag on his back. Like, he immediately got back into the country, and he's in like Las Vegas with a Mexican flag on his back, and he adds some talking about Donald Trump. It's just like things like that. Like, you do have to find some humor in
Humor.
the moment,
Yeah.
and things like that. And so that'll be the happy note that we end on. In that, as a lot of people, like a lot of sad things are happening, and people are being abused and rights taken and all these sort of things, that you do still, you can find some things to laugh at in it. And I will try to send you that video because it was hilarious.
For sure. Yeah. Well, that's the show.
Yeah, we'll be back
I got
next
nothing
week.
else.
I don't got nothing else. We'll be back next week. Thank you for listening.
Bye.